Hey everyone, my name is Wedge, and we're trucking along with our Best of the Rest series covering the remaining cards and cons of Tarkir not spoiled individually. In this video, we'll be covering the rest of the red cards in the set, or at least most of them. Knock Tracker is 6 mana for a 3/3 Hound Scout with first strike and a morph cost of 5. The card is kinda eh. The only reason I like it is because it has first strike, so when something annoying attacks, you could surprise them with a combat advantage. Beyond that, this card isn't super exciting, but in a late game format like this, the Tracker could be a late addition to your limited deck if you have space you need to fill. Arc Lightning is 3 mana for a sorcery. It deals 3 damage divided as you choose among 1, 2, or 3 target creatures or players. Yes, it's a sorcery, but I don't care. This card is premier removal. On turn 3, it kills morph creatures. It also kills most early Outlast targets before they get huge. Cards like this that are flexible and can deal damage to multiple targets are always valuable in limited formats. This one's no different. I love the Arc. Arrow Storm is 3 colorless and 2 red for a sorcery with Raid. It deals 4 damage to target creature or player. If you attack with a creature this turn, it deals 5 damage to that creature or player instead, and the damage can't be prevented. While this doesn't have the early game impact that Arc Lightning does, it's basically a 5 mana kill spell. It is at sorcery speed, but it hits the 4 toughness threshold, and if they have something a little bigger, you can just activate Raid and deal 5 damage they can't prevent. This card is Mardu, but honestly, any red deck could find a use for this. Again, this format is way slower than previous ones. You can afford to fit 5 mana sorcery kill spells in your deck, you just can. Also, this flavor text. First the thunder, then the rain. Come on, that's awesome. Bloodfire Mentor is 3 mana for a 0/5 Ifrit Shaman. You can pay 2 in a blue and tap it to draw a card, then discard a card. This is one of the more awkward cards in the set. 3 mana for a 0/5 is not great. The loot ability is good in general, but the cost for it is really high. We've seen better alternatives in past sets. If it didn't require the Mentor to tap, that would be a different story, but right now I'm not sure when I would really want to play this since there's a bunch of other card filtering Jeskai spells in the set. Bring Low is 4 mana for an instant. It deals 3 damage to target creature. If that creature has a +1/+1 counter on it, it deals 5 damage to it instead. This is basically the anti-Obzan spell, and it will get a ton of work at pre-release. Right now, polls are showing that the Obzan are the most popular clan for this weekend, followed by Temur and Mardu. If you take that into account, there are plenty of targets that will trigger the 5 damage. This kill spell is very much alive at pre-release. Also, it is an instant, which makes me love it significantly more. Red is getting a lot of creature destruction. Speaking of creature destruction, Burn Away is 5 mana for an instant. It deals 6 damage to target creature. When that creature dies this turn, exile all cards from its controller's graveyard. Seriously, burn spells everywhere. The anti-creature plan is in full effect. I expected this card to be a sorcery, but thankfully it isn't. Exiling the graveyard is just gravy against Sultai strategies. 6 damage is going to kill most creatures in the format, even ones with multiple Outlast triggers on them. In addition, this destroys every single con. Even if Zurgo has 4 counters on him, it still kills him as long as you cast this all sorcery-like. Burn spells, guys. Jeez. Dragon Grip, for the record, is already my favorite enchantment in this set. 3 mana for an enchant creature aura with Ferocious. Enchanted creature gets +2/+0 and has first strike. If you control a creature with power 4 or greater, you may cast this as though it had flash. I love combat tricks that stay. I love them so much. I wouldn't call 3 mana a bargain, but I would call it significant board improvement. If you play this in the Temur deck it's meant to be played in, you'll trigger Ferocious and make a giant creature even more giant, add instant speed, and give it first strike. If they don't have a kill spell, nothing's gonna beat whatever you put this on in combat. Just imagine a Savage Knuckleblade with Dragon Grip. Unless you're forced to return it to your hand, this guy becomes stupidly scary. It's so gross. I love Dragon Grip. Can you tell yet? Hordling Outburst is 1 colorless and 2 red for a sorcery. Put 3 1/1 goblin creature tokens onto the battlefield. Play this card forever. You get 3 creatures from 1 card. That's just straight up value. Even if they end up ganging up to kill a morph creature, you still have one goblin left over to either chump with or use for a raid trigger or basically anything else. They're goblins, just they do stuff. Seriously though, this card is great. If you have red in your deck, you play Hordeling Outburst. You just do. Like this card though, dang. Mardu Blazebringer is 3 mana for a 4/4 Ogre Warrior. When it attacks or blocks, sacrificed at the end of combat. Okay, first of all, this is the funniest thing I've ever seen. If this creature does anything, it burns to death. That's the best. Beyond that, he can just sit there and trigger Ferocious for you if you want. His best use is a cheap blocker for their biggest threat. If he trades with something huge, sacrificing him doesn't mean much since he's already dead. A 3 mana 4/4 with only a single color requirement, this is a good card despite his ability. It's certainly playable. Monastery Swiftspear is 1 red mana for a 1/2 human monk with haste and prowess. Say hello to the best non-rare 1-drop in the set. The Swiftspear is just straight up amazing. 1 mana for 2 toughness, haste, and a relevant ability in prowess. This will see standard play, but beyond that, the spear is perfectly fine for an aggressive limited strategy. Even if you're playing Mardu, this is totally worth it. You'll have cards like Hordeling Outburst that will trigger prowess at some point. Regardless, the Swiftspear is legit amazing. Like, it's a really, really good card. It's really good. Valley Dasher is 2 mana for a 2/2 human berserker with haste. It attacks each turn if able. It's a bear with haste, which means that it fills in a deck just fine. 2 2s for 2 in this format isn't exactly where you want to be, but because this has haste, it isn't so bad. Sure, it has to attack each turn, but against a slower deck, they won't want to trade this with any of their stuff. It provides some nice early pressure while being annoying as heck. It's perfectly fine for this to be your 22nd or 23rd card. Again, I can't lie. I thought red was going to be much weaker, but the variety of quality creatures and kill spells have me impressed. In all honesty, this could be one of, if not the best neutral color just because of how splashable the removal is. If you're playing Jeskai, Mardu, or Temur, you have extensive access to creature destruction. That's valuable information. Again, super impressed with red. What do you all think about the rest of the red cards and cons? Are you impressed? Do you not like them? How do you feel about Cheez-Its? You know, it's the important questions. Anyways, subscribe below for the latest and most reliable cons of Tarkir spoiler information you could ever need. This is the Manosaurus, I'm Wedge, thanks for watching, we'll see you next time.